Interesting. I have a lot of homework to do now. I gotta go
Me
check.
too.
Yeah, nice.
I
Man.
got 2 movies to watch.
Really? Oh yeah, there we
Yeah.
go. Yeah, please watch them. Please watch them. Now, before, are you planning to write more books then?
I actually have a second book ready, but I'm going to hold on to it for a little
Why?
bit because I have a new venture coming up that I want to kind of do first, and then the second one will come out. Yeah.
What is this venture you want to share?
It's,
Do like a pre-launch here. There we go.
I can talk about the second book.
Okay,
a little bit.
not the launch. Yeah.
Well, the second book was inspired by this quote by Friedrich Nietzsche, and Nietzsche used to say, "It is my ambition to say in 10 sentences what it takes others to write in a whole book."
That's gonna be a pretty short book.
Is it all right?
Like one pager.
Right.
Okay.
And then it got me thinking. I was like, oh, so Nietzsche says he's saying that 10 sentences can be equal to an entire book. That's how valuable his 10 sentences are. I mean, he was Friedrich Nietzsche, right?
Yeah.
And got me thinking, what would my 10 sentences be? So that's what the second book is about. And I'm not going to say what the format is and all that, but you will find out what those 10 sentences are.
So I'm assuming there'll be 10 chapters then.
Could be.
Could be. There we go. I'm just trying to find out. Yeah. So you now spend a lot of time here locally in Malaysia.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of time.
Over here.
Well, it's here and there. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the difference like compared in terms of lifestyle here and in LA?
The heat.
The heat.
Yeah.
Heat's bad.
You can cook
Wait,
here.
worse here?
You can, yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Because there at least,
I thought you meant LA.
Yeah, the air it's cool there. You know, even
Yeah.
though it's hot, you can wear a suit and walk about. And
Yeah.
here you could literally cook a meal in your car.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
But it's beautiful and we love it, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do. I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's right.
There we go. There we go. So now that you're done with this book, one thing that I'm just curious is like, what has been the response of people to this book?
I've gotten really positive response. People have been telling me to write another book. That's basically the review I've been
Really?
hearing. Yeah, you got to write another one,
That's the best review to get.
right?
So you and me share one more thing in common is you like to read. I love to read. I mean I wouldn't say I love to read, but I think reading is a very important process in
For sure.
in the personal development. Without it, you're not going to go anywhere. What are the books that come to mind now? The first that you really were inspired by or that you love to read?
Autobiography of Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda is a really good one. Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins is another great one.
Uh-huh.
Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson. It's quite
Oh, I've not read
ubiquitous.
that,
That's
yeah.
an amazing book. It's really thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a while to get
Yeah,
through.
yeah. I hate those books. I usually walk away.
You can skim through it.
Yeah.
This is some really great ones to start with. But if you want a really short book, Make History is pretty good, I think.
Fantastic. I have a reading. Yeah, it is. How long is it?
It's really short. You could read it in a couple of hours.
Perfect. I got some homework to do tonight. Now you know when I talk to you, I get the vibe that you're very certain of yourself. Mm-hmm. I get that, and you're very sort of focused, very clinical in your approach, right? You read 500 books. How long did it take you to read 500 books?
Oh my God, it took a while. I think a couple of years. It was years. Like this book took like 7 years or so.
This book took 7 years.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I wasn't deliberately writing this book again, right? Again, it was journals.
Journals, yeah.
Yeah, and then the compilation about 2+ years or so. It took me a long time. I mean, I'm not the most academical person in the world, right? It took me. It was hard for me. This was really hard.
Okay,
Yeah.
but my question is, how did you get to this way in terms of the way that you are? I mean, what were the inspirations along the way that made you so dedicated to a task? Because that's what I get from you. Like when you talk about reading, you say, I read 500 books. Mm-hmm. When you talk about making videos, you made videos and then you sent it off to the Beach Boys, right? You seem very committed to every task, no matter how small it is. Mm-hmm. No one would have thought, hey, you know what? Most people would have said, nah, come on, I'm not going to make a video and send it to Beach Boys.
That's usually someone else talking. In that, that's usually coming from fear. Human beings, when you take away their fear, they're like exactly what I'm doing. Let's just say, if you consider myself passionate, human beings are passionate. If you find there's a genius in everyone, in the sense that if you look at a kid or if you look at a hobbyist, people can do amazing things with their hands. I mean, look at whatever furniture or architecture in the world.
Yeah.
That's what human beings are. But sometimes fear gets in the way, or someone else, a naysayer, will come and say, what's the point? You can't do that.
Yeah.
And it stays in your mind. and it slows us back.
Exactly.
So I had to kind of fight my way through that.
So how did you remove fear? That's because that's a big achievement.
Yeah.
That's the biggest achievement.
Oh, thank you. But it's still there. I can't kill it, but I try not to listen to it. You know, I try not to let it control me.
Is it because I think a lot of people fail to do this is because the fear of failure?
Fear of failure, for sure. That's certainly one of it. It's always this obstacles, this filters that we have. But actually, if you ask people honestly, and if you sit down with anyone, they have genius in them. They have a genius idea or a great joke or something. It could. Sometimes it's not what we always reward in public, right? Like sometimes we always reward celebrities and monetary and stuff like that. But a great meal by someone, that's genius, right? And everyone has their genius within them. I think I'm not such a special person. It's just that I found a way to kind of walk past my fear and kind of just did it anyway. And when other people do that, they'll find the same results.
But another thing I think why this happens is because today's world is pretty much people like to showcase their highlight reels.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks to social media,
Yeah.
it's become like that, right? So you, in your highlight reel, you seem very accomplished. You are accomplished. You've written a book and all that kind of stuff. But what were some of the big failures that you faced along the way?
That misdiagnosis was one.
Okay.
Substance abuse was a huge one.
Yeah.
Those are things, and they were publicly, you know, because I was unemployed for close to a year after that,
Okay.
and in financial emptiness. I mean, there was no income at all after. You know, think about it, when you're diagnosed like that, and if you don't have stable income, and in terms of insurance and stuff, in terms of insurance, mental health. Is,
Yeah.
that was my biggest blow. And even though I was young, relatively young, 21, as a man.
That is a huge blow. Huge blow. Nice. Yeah. But I do think that would be, if I could say, if that would seem to be your biggest award or your biggest pin on your chest. If you can say that you can walk past your fear, I think that's a big thing. I think a lot of people can't do that because they just succumb to it. And you're right. There are people around us who always share negative statements. No matter what you say, like one book that I read that really made me laugh was the unofficial autobiography of Jack Ma. So they talked about this moment when he wanted to set up Alibaba. Right. And so he went to his friends, he got a group of his friends, and then he told them this idea. And one of them actually told him, I think it's better if you set up a KTV bar. Of all the people in the world, I would like to meet that friend.